Hello YouTube viewers. The topic that we'd like to speak about today is the mainstream media versus the alternative media, and there currently seems to be sort of a showdown between the two forms of media. Recently in the news, Alex Jones appeared on the Piers Morgan show, and they had a very active and lively debate. And Alex Jones was able to spread his message across millions of viewers on the Piers Morgan shows that he wouldn't otherwise be able to access on his internet and YouTube channel. Also, around the same time, just last week, Professor James Tracey of Florida Atlantic University came up in the news for questioning the various investigative methods and the lack of critical journalism being used in the Sandy Hook massacre. Our condolences to anyone who was hurt in the massacre, and we don't mean to make light of anybody's tragedy. However, James Tracey, Professor James Tracey, is a professor of media, and he raised certain very relevant questions about the role of journalists in the Sandy Hook situation, the Sandy Hook massacre, and he has basically been vilified by the mainstream media as a conspiracy theorist, principally by Anderson Cooper, who did a whole segment basically exposing James Tracey as a very, very bad person. He did this, Anderson Cooper did this primarily on a emotive basis, talking about how unfair, of how impersonal, about how cruel James Tracey's statements were, rather than by sticking to basic facts and the basic questions that Professor James Tracey addressed. Recently, I think as recently as last week, the Young Turks also did a special video discussing the rise of conspiracy theorists. According to the citations that the Young Turks used, they estimated that approximately 63% of the American public believe in some form of conspiracy theory or of another. As records show, the numbers indicate that there's a rise of the alternative media, particularly as a result of the internet, and people are losing faith with old forms of media, the traditional media, which they see as basically being uncritical, unquestioning, out of touch, and not relating to people on a personal level about issues that real people on the street care about. I was recently here in Bangkok. We're somewhat limited in our forms of hard copy newspapers that we're able to buy. Of course, we have the internet, so we actually have more access to alternative media than mainstream media, because the internet is often more convenient than cable or hard copy news. But we do get the International Herald Tribune, which is the international version of the New York Times. So I was looking over this today to see if I could find anything of interest. This is the front page. Two of the main stories is, number one, describing in the second term Obama to alter strategy but not goals. Okay, and this is basically just a reiteration of the same story we've heard about his basic plans for his second term. Obama's plans, with not too much elaboration, very little critical, other than he says that he did not achieve many of the goals that he set out to in the first term. No discussion of the Benghazi debacle, no discussion of the crimes and the obstruction of justice in the Fast and Furious case, no discussion of drone strikes where innocent civilians are being killed in Pakistan, sponsored by the US government. No discussion of abuses by the TSA, no discussions of the loss of certain what people consider primary liberties derived from the Bill of Rights or Constitution under the Obama administration. And incidentally, this was a path that did not get started by Obama. I don't mean to single him out. This is basically a discussion about the media. The other article is about, among blacks, expectations are recalibrated, basically showing that Obama still has basically widespread support in the black community, although he didn't achieve everything that certain members of the black community would have wished for. But what you'll never see in the International Herald Tribune is the very large group of active black commentators, journalists, analysts that have much stronger critiques and protests against the Obama administration. Who am I talking about? Louis Farrakhan, Reverend Manning. And this is basically, I think, why people are losing faith in the mainstream media. There's no discussion about people concerned about losing their Second Amendment rights to own a firearm to protect their family. There's no discussion about other loss of liberties, the inability of professors and journalists to speak their mind. There's certain issues that are just anathema in the mainstream press. But that's really not what piqued my interest and spurred this video on today. Rather, it was that on page 14 of the International Herald Tribune, again, the international version of the New York Times, the article is bringing Marxism to the masses. And this is basically 3/4 of a page praising a US-based website that simplifies the technical language of Marxism and brings it to the people on the street. So what we have here is one of the major news periodicals not promoting liberty, not promoting the Bill of Rights, not promoting the Constitution, not discussing issues that are important to the American people, the people on the street now, but promoting Marxism. That's all I got today. Thank you for watching. This is Joe from Thai Law Forum, signing off.